Ah, hello again, sweethearts. And where's my lamp? There's apparently some YouTube niche that I have accidentally stumbled upon of some kind of voyeurs. I do Monday shit, and for some reason, like I've most um are both of my food distro at the church, and um the time I was making meatballs, which I've titled live meat vlogging, and I think I dated it, and the one where I'm doing dishes for an hour and a half and making running commentary. So for all of you creepy little voyeurs who, or I guess it's borderline voyeurism since I'm aware or something. I don't know. I don't know how that works out, but I'm going to be making a meatloaf today. Why? Because that chicken that I stewed in the pressure cooker a couple weeks ago for chicken cacciatore, but every time I came home, my back was not up for, like even throwing shit together in the pressure cooker. So that chicken has turned on me. Um, I'll see what can be salvaged for cat food, but I'm not holding out, and, for anything that's going to, be worth it. But a meatloaf, now that I have a working microwave again, um, that is like, I don't know, that's several dinners worth. And, if I'm too tired to do what I've written out on my board on the fridge, I can just take a slice of this, toss it in the microwave on a paper towel, take back out, put it on a sandwich, and I've got dinner. I am using two of these from Marco Farms ground veal, beef, and pork for meatloaf. So it's a blend of three different meats because, as James Lilacs has said in his Gallery of Regrettable Foods book, nothing brings out the taste of meat like more meat. And how does this open? I don't understand this. Oh, there it goes. I've got 2 pounds of meatloaf meat blend. I've got 2 eggs per pound, so I've got 4 eggs total. And I went into my eggs, and I don't know if this happened. I don't know when this happened in the process of bringing home my last carton of eggs, but I uh, I have lost at least 2 of the eggs from this dozen, and uh, I am down to 2, maybe 3 eggs. And the reason I say maybe 3 is because one is stuck to the styrofoam, and I don't know if I'll be able to get it out. But yeah, 2 of the eggs were absolutely, like, they had cracks on the butt of them. And I do not trust that to be good anymore because the butt of the egg was cracked sometime before I got into the carton today, and I don't know when. And then one of them, and I lost a third because when I was taking it out of the when I went to take it out, my thumb went right through it. So let's see. Ugh. Am I going to need a bigger? This should be okay. Ah, I do like Ben Bell when she's Chinese Taoist who's doused mystic, who is also really into tarot, and she's been to PantheaCon, which is this big pagan convention in I'm going to need the bigger mixing bowl. Scooch. And then there's the Two of Pentacles. Perhaps in this journaling exercise, you may want to deep dive into this 5 cards with the High Priestess. If you identify more as the High Priestess, here, journal your impressions of this specific Nigel. Image. Thank you, hon. And her surrounding symbolism here, and which 3 symbols speak to you, and how do they speak to you? Describe, describe, describe. Ask yourself and answer. Why do you self-identify as the High Priestess? Okay, so this needs to be cleaned now too. Okay, that's good to know. And so then what? But yeah, but she made she's also got this blog, and I was reading something that she had written about PantheaCon, and I really want to like what she says more than I do. On one hand, I can see the point that she was getting at. I really do. But then she said something toward the end in an edit about that you know, it's an analogy she made in reference to trans people who were taking this a bit less diplomatically than she was, and the analogy that she used was really not as accurate as she claims, but at the same time, I was just really tired, and I did not feel like an argument, and I don't even think she'd be receptive to it, honestly. Like, I get what she's saying, but I think her analogies could use a lot of work, so as always, eyeball it with the crumbs. Oh, honey, I'm not pausing this here. Now make a note of your first immediate impressions, thoughts, and emotions from seeing the Empress card. Note at least 3 specific symbols from the Empress card that caught your attention. So the meat, I got this. This was not from. This is not part of the massive reserves of meat from the food pantry. This was purchased on that manager special thing at Kroger, so it was 99 cents a pound, and you know, a blend of the same meats for meatloaf. You know, their meatloaf blend at Whole Foods is the same meats, veal, beef, and pork, and it's something like $5-6 a pound. So getting 2 pounds of that for $2 rather than 10 to 12, that's not bad at all. Is part of the Great Seal of the United States, which reads, oh boy, I'm going to butcher this, meaning 1 out of many, or 1 from many. Study the details. And the pre-minced garlic. Use the blink access technique in counseling to deep dive into your own unconscious and inner divine wisdom. Spot the 3 symbols or details of the Emperor card that call to your attention the most. Then work through textbook card knowledge of the Emperor card in tarot and connect it
what you journaled earlier through blank access. The purpose here is to establish your personal sovereignty.
I try to let the juices from when I scoop it out drain as much as I can, and I like to use the garlic juice when I'm doing stir fries. And here I've got half of a large yellow onion that was from the food pantry, and that's the great thing about the onions that they give is that they're the storage type onions, so they've got that that extra thick papery skin on them, so that they keep a bit longer than the kind that don't have it. And there's a way, I don't know how that I think it's I don't know how they do the storage onions, but basically it's the same species. It's just, you know, they're treated in some kind of way. I think smoke. I did cut the onion very coarse. That's just how I like it. I like coarse onion. And I don't like sitting there, you know, with my eyes welling up. With tears, and I already can barely see.
In journaling on the Empress card, your descriptions and your impressions reveal the wisdom.
You know, so I don't know. Maybe it's the eye problem influencing, you know, my preference for coarse onion in meatloaf, or maybe I don't know. Nobody knows at this point. And Jane's Crazy Mixed Up Pepper and salt. The salt one. We've got salt just says generically herbs and spices. Dehydrated onion, dehydrated garlic. In the Jane's Crazy Mixed Up Pepper, we've got black pepper, spices, dextrose, sugar, red and green, sweet pepper, you know, of course, like chopped up fine and dehydrated, and dehydrated onion flakes. So we've got extra onion in here. I wish I remembered that. Oh well. And I don't use quite as much salt. I had a kidney stone back in December, and I was advised that, you know, I don't seem to have anything genetically or, you know, anything in my diet that would necessarily contribute to that. It's just, you know, sometimes guys get a little bit older, like around my age, and you just, you know, develop kidney stones semi-randomly. It's usually related to diet. So there's nothing that really stood out in my diet from the piss test that, like, they sent me this big-ass jug that I was supposed to collect my urine in for a day, and that was entertaining to the cats. Oh, God, Murnau. Speaking of the cats, so Murnau was all up in my shit with yesterday's video that I filmed, and he's hilarious. So he's got his little fan club. Why am I brain farting on his name? I want to say Jeremy from Her Despair. His name begins with a J. Is it Joshua? I don't know. His name begins with a J. He's from the band Her Despair, and he started this this thread on this Facebook group that we're both in, Goth Scene, Undead and Unpretentious on Facebook, and Ida. Oh, right, that started because of the Instagram post that I made. I was in the bath, and Murnau he's always so curious when I'm in the bath. So he was, you know, like sniffing. I was playing Her Despair off of the Bandcamp app from my phone, And so Murnau comes up, and so I've got this gothic rock playing, and there's Murnau, and then I've also still got my candles burning, so I've got this black cat listening to gothic rock in with candles by the bath, and I was like, how much more goth can I be? And I tagged the band because I noticed they were on Instagram, and and I'm talking to her now in the little clip that I made, and I think it's the singer, the guy with the J. And I feel terrible right now because he is like the president of Murnau's fan club, and it's adorable that because I went to the thread that he started on the Facebook group, and I made I post he started this thread, like, hey, here's a selfie thread for people, and I did post a selfie, but first I posted first I posted Murnau. That's great. He's just like, oh, I love Ruadhán. We love Ruadhán. And it's so then what happened? I don't know. Where was I going with that? I don't know. I don't know. I was going somewhere with that.
Have added new items to their
fuck if I know.
collection.
Okay, I'll put that.
Some stunning new items. Some with a very romantic and new goth feel. Highly recommended if you haven't already to check out their whole new collection.
So, now this is where the magic happens. There we go. Oh, I heard something about Alchemy Gothic. Oh my gosh. I had one of my grandest, not quite dumpster dive finds, but I found an Alchemy Gothic pendant. And I was just walking down the street downtown Ann Arbor. I want to say this was sometime late December. And this is gonna need quite a bit of time, even at $4.75. But there we go. Da da da! Isn't it lovely? Oh fuck! I keep forgetting that. I gotta tighten the springs on that timer. So, oh shit! I forget her name. But she did a video recently. Oh god, it's an M. Her YouTube name. It's an M something. She did a video about, and she starts out, one of my friends noticed that I've got all these skulls in my house, so let's count all the skulls. And I really need to do that with black cats, because I just have so many random little black cat images and effigy all over this place. You find what works, right? So, one of the previous streams I did from the kitchen, we saw all the ones on the shrine. Oh, hello! Oh, yeah. So I was, one of my previous streams, I don't know if you rewatched that one, but so I've got this little shrine to my household spirits in the kitchen over here. It's up on top of the microwave. Finally have a working microwave. I'm like way more excited about that than I should be. But I only paid $7 for it. $7.50, whatever. And considering that my previous microwave I had for 2.5 years and I dumpster dived it, I'm not doing too bad. So let's see. I've got a lot of them that are variations on the Maneki Nikko Yeah, we saw those one of the other times. Let's see, there's two. Let's say there's Forma Nekiniko, and then there's the one, the Tricky Cat things, and then there's two of the little figurine jobbies that I got from Crazy Wisdom. So that's 7 right there, and then there's the Halloween candles. That's 9. And then there's the jar with the electric, with the LED bulb. So that's 10, and then there's the little hand-carved Mexico thing. So there's 11 on the household shrine alone. And then I've got the hand soap pump. This is the one for hand soap. And I've got another one not just like this, it's a different one. It's got green eyes and a white nose, whereas this one has white eyes and a red nose. Because my kitchen is in red. Oh yeah. Okay, so I've got this, and then I've got the dish brush. I've got the dish brush, and let's flip this around. My thing's a mess, so let's see, there's that one there. So in the kitchen alone, let's see, there's the 11 on the shrine, 2 at the sink. So that's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I know they've kind of melted a little bit. I need to clean that. I'm sorry about the mess. Oh, 19, 20. And this is what I've got to tighten. So, you know, are my precision screwdrivers still out here? Of course not. That might be halfway convenient to my needs right now, and that would be ridiculous. Dun, 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 dun. Hello, kitty. Okay. Okay, this is gonna drive me nuts now. Okay, not in the toolbox. Kitty, what'd you do with them? Murnau, what did you do with my precision screwdrivers? What did you do, kitty? Kitty? He's not telling me anything. And I know he has his secrets. Yeah, he's got a fan club. I don't know how. All my cats have a fan club. Oh, God. My first year back in Ypsilanti, my friends bought my cat Nigel more Christmas gifts than they got me. Yes, Nigel, we're talking about you. I don't know if you heard that. He made a noise. Okay, well, that needs to go with the broken down boxes. I've got a vise in my front room for no reason at all. Really, it's for no reason at all. I was holding some shit together a time ago. They do. That's why I've got them on the little shrine for my house. Oh, that's right. I got another one on here. So that's 21. No, let's yeah, I got this. So 21, 22, 23, 24. So 24 in the kitchen. You know, if we're counting all the little individual black cats, right? Okay. Oh my God. Okay. I'm looking everywhere that makes sense because I know my screwdrivers are here. They have not left this apartment. It's not a very big apartment. Unless the cats sold them for catnip money. Which I would not put past them. Hello there. But yeah, Nigel gets more gifts than I do from my friends. My friends! Like, if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't even know this cat. Most of them don't even know that cat, because Nigel is a firm believer in stranger danger. He is very nervous and skittish around anybody he does not know. Except for my friend Scott. He's still incredibly nervous around Scott. Anytime Scott comes to visit, Nigel's under the bed, you know, for like the first hour. And and the funny thing is like I was still living with Scott at his place in Lansing when Nigel first came into my life and into my house. So yeah, Nigel, he was a kitten about 4 months old, and I have concluded that somebody likely abandoned him and dumped him out on the street I was living on in Lansing, because this was a street that kind of had a reputation for a bunch of stray and feral cats. As oh, there they are. Ah, found him. Okay, so it kind of has a reputation for a bunch of stray and feral cats, and so people who don't know anything about how stray cats work is yeah, if you don't know how feral cats work, I don't know if this would benefit you, Queenie Todd, or anybody who wants to be weird and watch this archive later, because people do that. People want to watch me make meatballs and do my dishes. I don't understand. People are strange. But then what happens? Okay, so Nigel, yeah, people who don't understand stray and feral cats, they will often the Tom who is kind of at the top of the pecking order in the neighborhood will often enough anyway just kill kittens just to make a point to the rest of the neighborhood, and it's sad and horrible. And if you're tired of if kittens are a lot more work than you realize, then do the proper job of rehoming them, and the right way. Don't just dump them in a neighborhood. I mean, I trust Queenie here to have the sense to do that, because you seem to have a decent head on your shoulders in the videos that or at least one of it I see, at least as far as animals and empathy goes. But some people don't necessarily have sense. And hi, yes. No, your fan club is not watching. Oh my gosh. Well, please don't sit on my screws. Oh yeah, yeah. But yeah, well, I also trust that the sense that if you brought a kitten into the house, you would at least check and see how much of a pain in the ass kittens can be. I mean, this one's 2 and he's still a pain in the ass, aren't you? Especially where Phoebe is concerned. She's the other older one I've got. Her and Nigel are both about 7. People ask sometimes if they're litter mates, and the answer to that is no, but and it's not one of those things they might as well be, but they sure. It's not like they were raised together. Oh, and he might brought a new. Oh, yeah, the those Savannah cats. Those are they're an offshoot of the Bengal breed, right? Or is it some kind of similar kind of deal where they're hybrid of domestic and one of the smaller wildcats? Oh yes, yeah, they are. Oh god, they are nuts. Yeah, and here's the funny thing is the groomer at Petco. Oh dear. The groomer at Petco has joked that Nigel is, she asked me what breed he was, because he's enormous. Like, he was this tiny little, 3-4-month-old kitten when, I went outside, and this is the funny thing is, like, serendipitously earlier that day, this was late October of 2012, and then what happened? Kat, I need exactly what you're sitting on. Thank you. So late October 2012, I went out onto the porch to have what ended up being one of my last cigarettes for quite some time. Oh, I finally got him to read. Oh, yes. The cats. Okay. This was... Seriously? Okay, well, this might actually be an easier way to do that. I just didn't want to... Okay, there we go. So yeah, I went out, ended up having what ended up being one of my last cigarettes for a good 5 years. Because this was, yeah, late before Halloween. And then what happened is, earlier that day, I had gotten the biopsy back from my cat, Vermin. Her name, indeed, was Vermin. And hopefully this runs like it should. So yeah, I just had to tighten the springs. That's one of the things that I like about mechanical items. I don't like things that require too many chips and all that. Yeah, I like to be able to like take a top off or a back off, tighten what I need to, and be done, and it's good, and I don't have to worry about it for a while, and I don't have to pay an arm and a leg to get it repaired. But then what happened? So yeah, Vermin's biopsy came back terminal. She had cancer in her jaw, and it was a really fast-acting kind of tumor that she was given about 2 months left. She ended up being, let's see, that was late October. Let's say it was the 20th. So November, December. Yeah, we actually, she stuck it out until last week of January of 2013. So a little over 3 months. So yeah, that was so yeah, I went outside to go have a cigarette because Vermin was mildly asthmatic, but even though she was dying, I did like the cat better than I liked smoking inside. Yeah, I did like the cat better than I liked smoking inside. So I also went outside because I heard a cat. Oh crap! I forgot to put ketchup in the meatloaf. I knew I was forgetting something, and I thought it felt dry, but the ketchup was like just a bit behind me. But this isn't opened yet, so I don't feel anything about, like, I don't know. I'm a little bit more worried about the garlic, but yeah. I mean, I guess I could take it out and put a ketchup glaze on top, but that just feels like a lot of work right now after hunting for the tiny little screwdriver. So yeah, I heard this kitten making a whole lot of noise outside. I thought it was one of the porch cats, and by the porch cats I mean kittens that were born to a feral queen under a porch about 2 doors down from us. So there was the condemned house next door, and then there was the house on the other side of that one. She was born under the she had kittens under that porch at about 10 weeks old, as is generally 10 to 12 weeks old, as is generally about normal for feral queens and the African wildcat from whence they were bred from. She just kind of took off, and the kittens at that point were generally old enough to take care of their cat spot suckers, which was me and Scott. So yeah, so I thought one of them, who pretty much acted like a house cat, he just lived on the porch and walked around the neighborhood during the day, but like come nighttime, he would come up on the porch and he would let us pick him up and cuddle him, and he would get up on our laps, but he just didn't want to come inside. So I thought he might have gotten stuck under something, because it kind of almost sounded like his voice, but a little muffled somehow. And so I went outside and I went calling for him, and I'm calling for him, and we named him Jules, and I'm calling for Jules, but instead out pops this little black kitten I had never seen before. And when you've got the neighborhood, when you're on the neighborhood full of cats, you get to know the cats on site. You recognize them. You make up little stories about their day when you're not around. Normal stuff that normal people do. Not crazy people. So yeah, oh dear, honey, please. Yes, we know. We love you. We love Murnau. Come here. Come here. But yeah, and that ended up being Nigel, and yeah, I just kind of sarcastically opened up the screen door, and I'm like, we're gonna be short a cat in a couple months. You want in? And he walked right in, saw the litter box that was right across. Yeah, everybody wants to see Murnau's butt. It is fluffy, and it is his butt. And look at this tail. This is a squirrely kind of tail with all these little. Oh dear, cat. Yes, we love you. We love you. Everybody loves you. Everybody. But I'm telling the story about Nigel. You're not Nigel. No, he's not Nigel. Nigel knows he's my favorite, but this is the one that gets all the attention because he's 2 years old and he's such a pain in the butt. Yes. But yeah, like Nigel walked right in, just like he lived there, and saw the litter box that was right across from the door, right across from the front door at that house, and walked right in, used the litter box. And I'm thinking to myself, does he not know how to shit outside like a normal cat would? And then he found the spot on the couch where I had been sitting, and made himself at home before the warm spot got too cool. And then I knocked on Scott's bedroom window and I said, "Hey, we've got another cat." What? Go out and see. There's another cat. He's on the couch. And he went out to see, and I was watching still, and that's when Nigel, and Nigel saw Scott and decided stranger danger and ran under the big chair, and and I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. And Nigel is still like this with Scott, and eventually, so yeah, like Nigel was a little over 2 when I moved back to the Ypsilanti area, downtown Ypsi, actually. And it was his first move. He was okay on the move, but yeah, he was okay with the whole moving process, generally speaking. I got him a microchip before we took off, just in case. But then what happened is but yeah, that whole 2 years, eventually, I want to say about 6 months before we moved. So Nigel was finally like willing to stay on the couch when Scott came into the room and sat on the couch, but he still wouldn't let Scott touch him. He still wouldn't let Scott pet him, but he was willing to stay on the couch. It took him about 6 months or so to stay in the same, to stay out when Scott came in the room and not go under furniture. Oh yeah, like Nigel was convinced the whole time. Like Scott was starting to feel personally offended at this, and I'm saying, I don't know. I try to reason with him, Scott. He loves me. He let me pick him up the first day. Scott, on the other hand, Scott was stranger danger. It makes no sense. He met us both the first day, but I was the human who let him inside so he could poop like a civilized feline in a box as God intended, not on the ground like an animal. And Scott, I don't know, he's like, Scott's come out and visited me here at my place a couple times, and Nigel still, like, he won't, sometimes he will go under the couch or the bed, but then like come out after about like half an hour or something. But still, he's still like, will like stay there and watch Scott warily and, study him. I don't know why. I don't know why. Scott is stranger danger. But then again, this is not the only time an animal has been anxious around Scott. So Scott has this friend Corinne, and Corinne had a dog named Popper. Popper was an Australian Shepherd. And I say was because he eventually got skin. Eventually it was just, the kinder thing to opt for euthanasia. But yeah, Popper was a great dog. Popper was a great dog because Popper understood that Scott was evil. I did bring up Popper to Scott when he mentioned that he was starting to feel personally offended by, Nigel wanting to dart under the furniture when he came into the room. But yeah, Popper was a... Oh yeah. Animals are great. I've also got Betta Splendens, betta fish, the little Siamese TIE fighters. He's got a big 8-gallon aquarium all to himself, with just a couple of plants, and I keep meaning to get a snail to help keep the algae population under control, but it's just, I don't know. I've had bad luck with snails in the recent past, and I think before I bring a snail in, I'm gonna get my water checked first. So, you could argue that, maybe I could have brought a snail in before I brought the betta in, but I'm like, yeah, I've got the thing to scrape the algae off when, it gets a bit, yeah, snails die fast on me. I don't know why. Like, I even get the little algae tablets so that, when, they are, keeping the algae buildup in the tank under control, they still have an option to eat. I had one that absolutely refused to eat the algae tablets. As well. I don't know. They die fast on me, so I'm gonna get the water checked before I bring in another snail. And anybody, if anybody wants to say, when they watch this in the archive, oh, well, maybe you could have got it checked before you brought the betta in. I'm like, well, I know the water's good for the betta. I've I've had bettas in Ipsy water for years, so many years. Oh God, I know the estimated maximum lifespan for a betta splendens is about 3 years. I had one time for 5.5 years. I swear, well outlived his original life expectancy. And the funny thing is that one was one. Okay, so I learned the hard way that you do not want to get one of those tank kits that has the divider and put a betta on either side, unless you, I don't know, you got to replace the divider with something opaque, or just you got to keep, or maybe you got to keep the water level just low enough, because they will jump. And so yeah, I learned that the hard way. I figured, okay, they've got about a gallon on each side. That's the minimum recommend, that a lot of enthusiasts would recommend. Though a lot of betta enthusiasts would say, oh, that's bare minimum. You want at least 2 gallons per fish, in his own little container. And that's, I've definitely noticed that, they seem much happier with 2 gallons or more. Like I said, this one right now, oh, he's got 8 gallons to himself. He's having a blast. But yeah, so stupid me had to learn, the hard way that, so they're on this divider. There's one on this side, one on this side. so the one that was on this side, let's say, was it was kind of a pale lilac color, like kind of a lavender sort of thing. He had a bit more darker purple around the edges of his fins, but for the most part, his color was, like pale lavender, almost white throughout his body. And the one on this side was blue. So the lavender one, is a dumb shit and jumps the divide and then doesn't jump back over. I wake up. Oh yeah, I wake up and for some reason in the middle of the night, and I'm looking at the tank and I'm thinking, something doesn't look right. And then I snap out of it and I realize that there's two fish on one side, and the blue one is eating the fins off the white one, and lavender one, whatever. It's and so, I immediately I can't remember if I grabbed with my hand or if I got the net. But I immediately separated them, and I had one of those. I still had the spare cup that I got one of them in from Petco, so that I could do water changes and not have to dirty a glass or something. So I scooped out water and put one in that one right away, and then later that day I had a gallon fishbowl, the circular one, not the spherical one. So I had a 1 gallon bowl that I just like set up for the other fish, and just decide, what, nope, they're gonna be separate. Everyone I have after this was a close call. So I the one that got like half of his fins eaten, oh god, they all grew back beautifully, like even better than before, if you ask me. Oh god. Oh, that's right, Nigel destroyed the hard drive that had those pictures. Nigel destroyed that hard drive. It needs clean room recovery. That needs about $1,800. Yeah. I put a picture of him up on Instagram with a little text over it that said, "This cat destroys hard drives," and with, my little pet shaming. But then what happened? So yeah, but yeah, the lavender one, his fins like grew back even like more voluminous and beautiful than they were before. The blue one, he lived, I had him a couple years, his general life expectancy of about, a little under 2 years. But yeah, the lavender one, I had that fish for about 5.5 years. I did. So like, he got half of his fins eaten, and they grew back, more voluminous than before, and then, like I said, he outlived the turd that ate his fins by a good 3.5 years. It's hilarious. Oh yeah, he was a great one. That was a great one. That's not the beta that was a pervert though. So when I say pervert, the males will make a bubble nest. The males, and they make a bubble nest usually around mating season, with the little wild equivalent, and amongst breeders. Oh, from Murnau, probably. He's like right up by the mic on the phone. Honey, please don't. You're gonna knock it over. You are such. I know. Everybody loves you. Everybody loves Kitty. I know. Go and see. Yes. Your adoring public. They need the tail. They need this fluffy, squirrely tail. It is. It's a squirrel tail. Look at it. But yeah. So the male bettas, they'll make a bubble nest around mating time. It's such a gorgeous tail. So they make a bubble nest around mating time, because they're the ones that actually like tend to the eggs and keep the eggs safe from predators and shit, and also from females, because the females will eat the eggs given half a chance. At least this is what a lot of breeders tend to say. I don't know if that's got something to do with captivity, or if it's just that, you know, the females are not very maternal. And they're just but yeah, the males, so they make a bubble nest when, you know, they're, you know, feeling, you know, either extra relaxed and happy and, you know, ostensibly receptive, you know, ostensibly eager, you know, for mating with a female of the species, you know, or, you know, when they're horny. And you know, I had this one beta splendens that seriously started adding to his bubble nest every time I would get undressed. It was weird. It was really weird. And at one time, it was weird and creepy. He's a sick man. Ah. Ah. Oh, I don't know if my audience has been disconnected or of their own volition, or if oh, are you back? Okay, yeah, I don't know. It said 0 on the little weeble wobble thing for a second there. Yeah, Nigel's a very creepy boy with his creepy blanket. It's that blanket is difficult for me now. Oh, yeah, yeah, that blanket is very difficult for me now. It was one of my favorite blankets until I noticed how much Nigel liked to be creepy with it. He thinks he's my boyfriend. At least this is what I say. That's the only other explanation I can think of for why he likes to watch me. Watch me with my prawn sights. Like, seriously, like, why else? Why else would he do that? Oh, he's a sick man, that cat. Yeah, people who know that Nigel and Phoebe are about the same age will ask if they're litter mates, and they're not, but yeah, this is gonna be another sad story. So, a couple years ago, yeah, 2 years ago, around this time, I had another cat who was diagnosed with his kidneys were failing, and we tried to the vet and I, we were trying to you know, do what we could to you know, see if this is anything that could, you know, be helped, you know, if this is something that, you know, he might need medication for, but you know, you deal with that because you love your cat. But no, like during the diagnostic process, his kidneys, like, they seemed to stabilize for a little bit, but then they just, like, you know, his kidney function just shot down like almost immediately after that couple weeks of leveling off. And you know, Nigel and Phoebe, so I adopted Phoebe not too long after I moved back to Ypsilanti, for a couple reasons. First, I thought, well, first I thought that, so the Craigslist, story I've got was, moving in at Lois's place, and Lois greatly mistreats her cat. And I don't say that, you know, she's like violent or physically abusive or anything, but she is emotionally abusive and negligent toward this cat. Like, this cat has emotional problems, that, you know, like, including like some serious separation anxieties. And I had thought, you know, because Nigel really loves other cats. He loves to play with other cats, and you know, and all that. like one of the few times the porch cat would, tolerate, being inside. Like he would never come, much further than like a few feet, from the door. But, I'd let him, at some point, I'd let him in to play with Nigel because Scott's cat Chunk hated Nigel for some reason. I have some, I have, Scott and I have a theory on why she hated Nigel so much, but, she hated him. It was horrible. Like she bullied him. It was terrible. But yeah, like, occasionally let one of the porch cats in to play with him for a little bit, and he loved it. He loves other cats. He does. He gets along really well with other, like, he's really skittish around people he doesn't know, but new cats, it's like, friend. He's so, he was trying to make friends with Lois's cat, and Lois's cat has emotional problems and was having none of this. So I figured, okay, well, fuck it. I'm not staying around here. Either Lois is moving out at the end of the lease or I'm moving out. Because she's renewed the lease. And out from under me. And so I'm like, you know what, either way, I'm not gonna deal with Lois and her neurotic cat for another year. So I adopted Phoebe, thinking, okay, Nigel needs a friend, I need some time so that I can do the graphic stuff for the buttons that I make. And I haven't done that for a while because I really need to replace the power supply on my computer. And I do have a replacement power supply. But this time of night, I think I'm going to leave that for tomorrow. I don't think I'm going out tomorrow. I'm just after that post office episode on oh yeah. And I know it's the power supply because this has been a problem for quite some time. And I was able to narrow it down to the power supply the last time I took the side off the chassis on the desktop computer. So then what happens? So yeah, like I need some time. Like Nigel is a very playful cat, even for 7 years old. He's gonna be 7 around June. So yeah, he's a very playful cat, and I do enjoy playing with him. When my back is feeling up to it, or when I don't need to work. And I was like, okay, Nigel, I would love to play with you. Like, there were times when like he would. Oh god, sometimes he makes these noises that I swear he knows is mimicking crying. Like it seriously sounds like he's crying, and it breaks my heart to hear that when he does that. And so yeah, I was like, okay, Nigel needs a buddy of some sort. And and I saw this, I saw Phoebe at an adoption event at Petco, and she was just coincidence Nigel. And oh yeah, I can't handle an animal who needs me. Oh, I just love cats too much. I've got the chronic back pain myself, but I just love cats too much. And especially with the seasonal depression I've got, I've noticed that that the cats they kind of help with the seasonal depression, because like if it's one of those days where I feel like I don't want to get out of bed, not so much because of my back, but because it is gray and gross outside, and I haven't seen, and the sun is going down in 4 hours anyway. I'm not that far north, but might as well be with the hours I keep. It's like, well, I do got to get up to feed the cats, and then I feed the cats, and Murnau sings praises to me for the breakfast, and I'm like, okay, well, I can do other stuff out of bed. And so yeah, that and St. John's wort. It gets me through my winter depression. And So yeah, I kind of adopted Phoebe with the intent that, she would be a buddy for Nigel, and she is. She's very much his buddy, but yeah, so after Mr. Midnight died, and they saw that, I adopted Mr. Midnight shortly after moving into this place, which I love. Um, because I was thinking, 3 is the right number of cats to have. And my friend Patrick agrees with me on this, and my friend Scott generally agrees with me on this, but Phoebe has decided that not only does she hate Nigel, she hates all other cats except for Bob and Vermin. And Vermin would be my cat who died that winter of 2012, 2013. And Bob would be Scott's cat who died that same winter as well. But Bob was 20 years old, and he had intestinal cancer that he was diagnosed with when he was 15. And the vet said he's got 6, maybe 12 good months if the steroid keeps his appetite up. And likely had a brain tumor that gave him seizures that was diagnosed that same year as the intestinal cancer. And he outlived that prognosis by a good 4 years. So he outlived his expiration date much more than expected. And so it's like, it was sad to see Bob go, especially since Bob was one of those cats who Scott's old college roommates still tell stories about Bob at parties. Like, this is the cat who once responded to being given a bath by taking a dump on the floor. This was seriously, and this, like, you could tell, like, he made eye contact with me, like, as he was settling down his butt to, take a crap. This is, Scott's got a cousin who thought that Bob was creepy and weird, just, like, watching, like, the way this cat seems to understand the English language. She's like, that cat is weird and creepy. Oh. But yeah, when Mr. Midnight's kidneys started to fail, like, like, Nigel and Phoebe, they saw that their buddy wasn't doing so good, and Mr. Midnight was great. Like, he and Nigel were buddies, because I noticed not too long after I brought Phoebe home, to be with Nigel, and they acclimate to each other and they start getting along pretty well. Phoebe likes to chase. Phoebe likes to chase. That is one game with other cats that she does love to play. She loves to chase. She does not like to share catnip, but that's she's not the first cat I've had who does not like to share her catnip. Like, she will get feisty when other cats come near her catnip. But Nigel likes to escalate from chasing to wrestling. And when Nigel starts to go to wrestling, that's when Phoebe is done. Like, Phoebe has a couple times, like, sat up on her haunches and bopped him on the head with both front paws and then run up to the top of the cat tree, because she does not wrestle. She is a lady. She is dainty. She will chase. She will not wrestle. So, so that was kind of a benefit to having Mr. Midnight around, is Mr. Midnight did not mind wrestling. He clearly wasn't as into it as Nigel is, but, he'd wrestle for a bit, and, then let it be known that he is done, and then Nigel will pout because he's not done wrestling, and then he'd find a toy, usually something hot pink. He loves toys that are hot pink. I think he might have some vision issues, that he sees them better than he sees other colors. Cats do see color, but it's kind of muted. Whereas dogs only really see a spectrum of, like, red and yellow. Cats see kind of like a diluted version of our color vision. So yeah, that's one of the I think Nigel might have some vision issues. So yeah, like, because Murnau, Phoebe, Mr. Midnight, they would all play with, like, just about any color of toy equally. Nigel has a distinct preference for anything hot pink, so when I'm getting new toys for the cats, I'll go for the pink ones first, just so that, I know Nigel will at least play with them if it is a toy he's got any interest in. Whether it's got anything to do with his vision or not, I don't know, but yeah, I do tend to lean toward getting hot pink toys first, just so that, just so if he is interested in them, he will definitely, or, if it's a toy that he'd otherwise be interested in, he would show interest in this. I don't know how to word that. But yeah, so yeah, when Mr. I thank you. I like to think I am sometimes, but other times I'm just like, cause this one here, Murnau, the little guy who is so cute with his fluffy squirrely tail, he has seriously the most irritating habit in the world. It's like, so like when I make them their wet food around dinner time, which probably should be about now. So I make them their wet food, and he finishes his plate of it, and then he tries to bury it, and he will start pawing at the floor on all sides of the dinner plate for, oh god, he will easily do this for like 15-20 minutes if I let him. So he pretty much does it at this point until, I get irritated enough by the sound of it that, I just like slam down whatever book I'm reading or whatever, and I say, "Cat, I will drop kick you." I'm never going to drop kick him, of course, but, it's like when you're goofing off at the store and your mother tells you that she's going to leave without you. She's never going to actually leave without you. But, that's what she says when she means business. That's what she says when she means business. And, I make empty threats to drop kick them when, at least Murnau anyway. I don't think I've ever, said that to Nigel just because, the times when I could have, when he was being really irritating, was when he's making that crying sound. But he doesn't do that much these days. Oh, he was doing that when I was doing the puzzle just this last Wednesday, though. I don't know what the hell that was about. He was making his little crying sound, and, I hadn't heard that in a while, and he sounded very concerned, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why he was sounding so concerned and all that, but it was kind of concerning, but he stopped eventually, yes. My guess is I was just disrupting the routine by doing a jigsaw puzzle. Yeah. Yeah, after Mr. Midnight died, Nigel and Phoebe just started cuddling together a lot. Like, they, I know, right? How dare I, do something besides, pay attention to Kitty, right? Oh, come to think of it, I think I know, because that was about the time of night that he usually likes to snuggle up next to me while I'm watching my shows on television or the Roku videos with the YouTube. That's probably it. Yeah, that was about that time. Yeah, that was about 10 or so at night, maybe 11. And I know. Oh, Phoebe. Miss Phoebe. No. Miss Phoebe. She is such a sweet girl. But I was over one day, and he brought another friend of his, and we were just at the bar behind my place, had a few ciders, and then came back here just, Shit. Oh, I forget the other guy's name. And I feel bad about this because I was actually like having better conversation with him that night than I was with Matt, because Matt was drunk off his ass, but the other guy was, was able to hold his liquor a little better. And so yeah, like we were waiting for him to get his buzz down a little bit so that he could oh, I am still hearing the timer. Okay. I actually have a couple of friends who have asked me why I blend the cat food and mix it so soupy, and that's because honestly, that Nigel likes it. That's 4, 5, 6, 7. That seems to be the only way he'll eat wet food, or at least his preferred way of eating it. And it really is best, even if you do the free feed kibble during the day. With cats, it really is best to give them at least some portion of wet food at least once a day, especially males, because males can be prone to urine crystals, which is not good. I mean, just the sound of it sounds, awful, but and it's such a pain in the ass and kind of expensive to go to the vet about. But yeah, males can be especially prone to urine crystals, and it's easier for them to digest this way. So, and he does eat both the kibble and the wet food. But yeah, he prefers his wet food like the consistency of soup, right? Miss Phoebe. Miss Phoebe's a lady, and she likes to eat on the table. Usually, she likes to eat. Usually, she likes to eat on a. So, pardon the messer, but it's okay. There's this little 3 shelf cart here. So that spot there that I'm pointing right at, that's usually Phoebe's dinner spot, but today she wants to eat on the table instead. I don't know. She likes to mix things up, and I've got a mess. And not the bed. Oh my gosh. Oh, where'd he go? He's somewhere in here. There he is. He's the only cat who likes to be under, well, out of these 3 anyway, who, likes to park himself under the coffee table for whatever reasons. Damn. Oh, this is kind of late for me for, yeah, even for me, this is kind of on the late side of doing things, but, oh, that's right, it's still in the kitchen. Oh, hey. Sweet. Okay. For now, you're not allowed to eat on the synthesizer. We go over this every night. I've got this synthesizer in a little case that Murnau tries to convince that he should have his dinner on top of that, and I'm like, no. Okay. Let's see. Where's my... There's that drawer in every kitchen, and that's an empty thing. Oh, there we go. Wait, do I have two of them? Why do I have two meat thermometers? I don't know. Well, this one's out of a jobby, so I might want to clean that. This one is in the jobby, so will it turn on? Yes. There we go. Ooh. Oh, I can tell that's not done. Yeah, we've only got 120 degrees in the center of that thing. And there's pork in this. 142 on one end. $149 on the other end. Okay. Yeah, we're probably gonna want a little less time on this. And I know I was just talking about the other one being out of the little slip, but that's the one I'm using for this. Let's try another 20 minutes. Okay. Seriously, cat? Ain't I the bad? Not the bad. No, he's such a sweet boy. But yeah, Nigel and Phoebe were really there for each other after Mr. Midnight died, and it was so sweet watching them snuggle up together. And still today, like 2 years later, they will still occasionally just walk up to the other one and beg for mutual grooming. So like last night, Phoebe she was like loafing about 18 inches away from Nigel last night. So Nigel was in low formation. Phoebe was in low formation about 1.5 feet away. And then at some point, I'm watching my shows and I see her just flop over and inch her way with her paws, over to Nigel so that her head was right next to him, right next to his head. And, so he starts licking her on the forehead. And it was just so adorable. And it's one of those moments where I was like, God damn it. My phone really needed charge. It was like I just got home and it was something like 4% charge. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to even take a photograph of this, much less video to share the adorable with the internet. And but that's okay because I got to enjoy it and it was very cute and sweet. And they're just so cute together. They, so when people ask if they're litter mates, I'm just like, technically no, but they sure act like it sometimes because, and oh yeah, oh yeah, everything they do is meant for my eyes because every time they do something adorable like that, like even if the phone is full of charge and I'm able to take a picture or something, they will just suddenly like, no, nope, we're done. And it's kind of funny that I would really like to have one of those cats who becomes who will let me capture their adorable for the internet, but it seems it is not meant to be. I'm not meant to have an internet sensation cat. I'm just I've just got these three goobers. And speaking of phone charge, how are we doing? Not too terribly. Hello. Have we come to sing praises for the dinner that you've finally eaten? I see you took a bare minimum of trying to bury it. Oh yeah, they're great. I get your fluffy butt. Some cats just love this. He's rubbing his face all over everything right now. Oh yeah. Oh god. He's so funny. He can tell when I'm getting ready to go to bed. And oh yeah. He can tell when I'm getting ready to go to bed, and he will just like jump up in the bed and onto the pillow next to mine, and before I've even laid down, and he will just like put his butt up in the air, and then when I finally lay down, he'll like flop over, and he's clearly begging, for either pettins or spanks or both, and it's kind of annoying that he's zeroed in on the time when I really do want to get to sleep, and I'd like to sleep, and I need sleep. I'm so little, but he's all like, "No, you're cornered. You're cornered. You're gonna pet me." But he's so cute about it. Oh, he's so sweet. He's so sweet. It's your fluffy little butt. Ah, he's only about half as fluffy as Mr. Midnight was. Oh god. Mr. Midnight was just such a big fluff. And oh! Thank you, cat. Oh dear. I've had some cats who weren't very smart before. And then I had Mr. Midnight. Like, Vermin, she would often stare off into space blankly, and, you would mentally insert calliope music, behind her blank thoughts, and, you could tell that's what was just going through her head, just filling in the blank spots. And then Mr. Midnight would stare blankly off into space, and it would just be like white noise, he was not a bright cat. Okay, so they've hidden them on me, but I've got the treat balls. I don't know if you've seen them for dogs, but they make them for cats as well. You open up one end, you put the treats inside, there's a little hole in the side, sometimes a hole on either side, and you hit the ball in a way so that treats come out. Okay, it's a very simple, mechanism, for cats and dogs to play with, and they are highly recommended for dogs and cats who like eat their kibble too fast, especially for dogs. It's like, if you've got a dog who's got a habit of eating so fast he pukes, then yeah, like put his kibble in a treat ball instead, and that'll take care of that. So okay, I have treat balls for the cats. They've hidden them on me right now, but I have them, I assure you. So I think I saw one here the other day. Oh, I did. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. And this is one of those Friskies Wobbert ones, and you get the little stringy treats and you thread it through the ears. Nigel's the only one who likes those stringy treats. So but yeah, so Nigel figured out the treat ball all on his own one day, like when he was still an only cat. Because Lois's cat was being neurotic and not coming out, and so I give Nigel a treat ball and thinking, okay, this will entertain him for a little bit until I can get him a buddy. And so I give him the treat ball. He figures it out in a couple minutes, just like, he's sniffing around like, okay, there's clearly food in here. And, what do I do to get the food out? And, he knocks it over eventually and figures out, the way to do it. And, then I thread the thing through the top once I got some. And Phoebe learned the treat ball watching Nigel operate the treat ball. This makes sense, and then I gave a third treat ball after Mr. Midnight came, and I gave a third treat ball to Mr. Midnight. And, he's looking very quizzically at his treat ball, and he's watching the other two, and he sees that they're getting treats out of their treat ball, and he can see that he can sniff his own treat ball and tell that there are treats in here, but how are they getting treats out of theirs? And then he's looking at them, he's looking at me, and he's looking back at his ball, and he's looking at them like they're working some kind of wizardry. Like what magic are these two conducting that gives them food from the toy? This makes no sense to him. I know. He was not bright. He was not bright. I mean, this is not a complicated thing. If you've ever seen Hyperbole and a Half, that little comic blog thing, that is on indefinite hiatus until Allie decides not to. She's got this. She's got that one. Oh yeah, where she thinks her dog is mentally challenged. And I'm watching Mr. Midnight just have the hardest time with the treat ball, and I'm thinking, oh my god, I've got special dog. Like this, like Mr. Midnight, he was special cat. He was my special little boy who could not figure out the. At some point, I eventually just took the top off of his treat ball and shook a few treats out of it, and just because I felt so sorry for him, being unable to figure this out, and it was so sad and so funny at the same time. And I'm like, you poor cat, you just have barely enough brain cells to keep your heart and lungs working, don't you? But he was so sweet too. He was so sweet. He was one of the sweetest boys. And, he would sit on your lap, and, he would just get so relaxed by being petted that he would drool, and it was kind of funny. He'd just be like, and yeah, he was just such a sweet boy. He was such a sweet, but such a challenged little guy. I miss him sometimes, but I don't miss seeing him sick and dying. So, but Murnau, he is certainly a sweet little boy. He seems smarter than Mr. Midnight was, which is good. I don't know if how funny it would be to have two very challenged cats in a row like that. Plus, it would just be so creepy to me. Oh, hi. Yeah, the cats are great. Murnau, you've got fans, boy. Oh, all right, fine. Be a loaf. Or get both. Kitty cat. Kitty cat. Kitty cat. Kitty cat. What you doing, kitty? What's up? What's up? Yes? What? Oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh, yes, we see your tail. We see your fluffy, squirrely tail. Majestic tail of Murnau. I sing to these cats so much for no reason other than they give me joy and cat hair. I'm sure I've ingested enough cat hair from my food over the years that I could probably take all of that cat hair, spin it into yarn, and knit another dozen cats. I've always lived with cats, except for that couple of years I was homeless, and some of that literally on the streets. But, you know, other than that, I've pretty much always lived with cats. They're so great. They're so great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great. Yes. Yes. Everybody loves your butt. Everybody loves your butt. Everybody loves your butt. Oh. Yes. 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 Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ah. Come here. Come here. What you doing? Are you a sweet boy? Yeah. Sometimes. What's up, dear? Make my meatloaf be done. Can we do that, Murnau? Can we cook my meatloaf faster? He's so sweet. And so goofy. Like, if you've seen my Instagram, that Murnau here will, like, sprawl out on his back in some of the goofiest, like, you know, greeting card ready positions. It's like, oh, yeah. Oh, speaking of the cat tree, yeah, I was saying earlier about this one time. Yeah, my friend Matt was over here and brought another friend of his whose name I forget, and I wish I remembered it right now. I want to say Ray. I want to say it was Ray. But yeah, so yeah, like I was talking to Ray a bit while Matt was being drunk off his ass, and Ray was just like waiting for the buzz to go back down so he could drive everybody back home. Well, drive him and Matt back home, and big wad of cat hair off the carpet into the trash bag, and Ray takes a look at Phoebe up on top of the cat tree, and he's like, "That one up there, that cat's the boss here." I'm like, "Oh yeah, she kind of is. She kind of is. You know, she doesn't wield her power with an iron fist like some cats do, but she's clearly in charge of, you know, what the other two are going to be doing and all that." You know, Murnau just chooses not to listen about half the time because he knows that she does not like to wrestle, and he still will sometimes try. Oh god, I have seen him like come up to Phoebe while she is asleep and just like pounce her for wrestling. I think it's just the fact that he is 2 and she is 7, and he is up for all kinds of bullshit that she is not. Right? Yes. Yes. Oh, I'm such a sweet boy. But everybody loves me. Look at how cute I am. Look at. Oh, all right. Fine. 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 Yes. Really? You're done? Now you're done? Now you're done with pettins? Okay. I am still hearing the timer. I'm so glad it I barely had to do anything to that. I don't know. When I got this kitchen timer, a couple people on Amazon were saying that, you know, it doesn't have the best mechanisms. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Murnau likes to sleep a lot like this, you know, or with like this. Just like, oh my gosh, cat, you're so fucking adorable. Why? And and he knows why. He's not going to tell me why, but he knows why. I know he knows why. And don't you? 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 Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You're a little pain in the butt. Come here. Come here. Cat. Come here. Hey, you. Are you a goober? Are you a little goober? Are you a little noodle? Are you a cute little noodle? Oh, there we go. Please be done, please be done, please be done. Okay. Whoa! Okay. Okay. That end is done. Okay. The center is... Okay. Well, the ends are done, and I've got a working microwave now, so the when I get to the center, that will be plenty cooked, because I really don't want to wait another 20 minutes. Oh god, so late. Okay. Oh. Oh, that's not bad. All right. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shit. I've got at least 10 sandwiches here, so that's not bad. And of course, Phoebe left her dinner half done on the table. Yeah, Phoebe wanted her dinner on the kitchen table tonight for some reason. I don't know. I usually find ketchup such a garbage condiment. I'd rather use it as an ingredient than put it on sandwiches more often than not, but I don't know. With that mishap at the post yesterday, so 2 days ago, as far as the AM PM hours are concerned, I don't know. I feel like I need the garbage condiment. I should have spent this weekend in my head, not in my head, but playing my new diatonic accordion. But I I got the wrong package from the postal clerk. Who knows me? Who recognizes me? We have banter like every time I'm in there. And you'd think he'd know where my shit is. In the back, but he was not paying attention and I got somebody else's package. Of course, I don't know, maybe I'll get another package of his because I found him on Facebook and you know, it's Sunday. I got the and I've still got the wine glass out in the front room. But yeah, I found the young man whose package I was given by accident on Facebook, and he's cute, and yeah, it is. It's wine o'clock somewhere, and the more I use these glasses that I got for my wine at the beginning of the month, the more I think these are indeed intended for white wine rather than red. But with red wine, you're going to want a larger bowl on the receptacle, and ideally a shorter stem so that you can hold it like this. Whereas with white wine glass, we may have finally found a new home. Oh, that's great! That's great! Oh, I'd love a home by the seaside, but I'm the Great Lakes is probably the closest I'm going to get for a while, but I'm actually right by the river. I'm not. Well, okay, I'm about 3 blocks from the about 3 blocks from the river, so I'm not like right on the river here in downtown Ypsilanti. I'm about 3 blocks from the Huron River. And but it's not bad. I'm also about half a mile from working train tracks, and I realized a few months ago that since my grandparents died, and by my grandparents, I mean my maternal grandparents. So my grandfather on my mother's side, he worked for the railroad most of his life. He after he died, so my grandmother died first from a heart attack, and my grandfather, it probably started from something else, but he stressed himself into a bleeding ulcer that led him to pass on little over a year after she died. They'd been married since they were about 19 years old. Hi, Kat. Hi. What are you doing, Murnau? Okay. Say hello to the nice folks. Kitty. No, you want your own show. Come here. I'm cute. Yes, you are. He's so cute. He's so cute. But yeah, since my grandparents died, and let's see, within the so yeah, after my father remarried and we moved in with my stepmother, in Tecumseh, Michigan. She had a little chicken farm there. She would take eggs to the farmers market, and but yeah, she lived just like 2 doors down from an operable railroad tracks, and yeah. So since then, I've never lived more than a mile and a half, which for me is like about a 20-minute walk from operable railroad tracks. And I realized that, like since I was about 12 years old. Yeah, I was 12 years old when my dad remarried and we moved to Tecumseh. Um, I've lived, never more than a 20-minute walk from trains. And, whether it's like city trains in Chicago or um or well, okay, when I was in LA, when I was in the LA area, most of that time I was literally like homeless, a lot of it on the streets, and so just living by the subway, that was just kind of like um, a matter of convenience and to an extent safety, because when people are getting on and off the city trains all the time, somebody's gonna, and there's always a chance that somebody's gonna, be there and watching. So, yeah, but yeah, whether the city trains in Chicago or LA, or just like the Amtrak, or the freights. Hi, please knock over my wine, cat. There's a there's a third person now. Why? At this point, I'm literally just having dinner, and oh, hello. Yeah. Meatloaf and pomegranate wine. Red wine's good with meatloaf, right? Oh! Ah, I know who this is. It's my best penguin, and I've got something for them. And they need to give me their address. And where the hell did it go? Cats took it. Oh, time zone different is a pain in the butt. Yeah. Yeah, it's about, oh dear. It's about 4:15 a.m. here. Yeah, even for me, this is late for dinner, but hello. Yeah, yeah, this is an old friend of mine, Falling Dream here. They're they're an Australian expatriate living in Ireland. And they're hmm? Oh yeah. Um yeah, and the Falling Dream's latest ex-husband, or no, the latest one that I know about. Were you married to the most recent guy I knew you were with? I know one of their ex-husbands is a UK expatriate in Brisbane, Australia now, and he's probably gay. One of these days, he's gonna text my penguin here, and he's gonna say, I have no idea where I am or who all these cocks are, but and another one of their ex-husbands is probably trans. And oh yeah, you too. You too. Okay. Yeah, I remember the story about the first husband that you bought him for a pack of cigarettes. Oh. It probably is, but the only conditions I would see myself getting married for would be is Scottish mainland and oh yeah. But yeah, the only conditions I can see myself getting married in, and you know, not thinking it was a completely stupid idea, would be is if it was somebody who I would otherwise be happily just dating and, you know, long-term relationship like Scott and I were for many years, but it would be for residency in ideally Ireland or the UK. I could also maybe see myself maybe living happily in one of the larger cities in France, maybe. But no, I've kind of got my sights set on Ireland. I definitely want to visit, if not later this year, which is probably not going to happen because of dental work. But yeah, either this year or next year, I definitely want to visit Ireland, and my friend Gavin said that we should definitely have some time, assuming, you know, he's he's not going to be off on the continent for, you know, music and stuff. But yeah, I definitely want to visit Ireland. If not this year, then next year. And maybe find myself a rich twink boy out there who will. Oh no! Yeah. This is the one. This is the one that you bought for a pack of cigarettes at a goth night, right? That was your story. I'm not messing you up with somebody else. Yeah, Steve. You've got so many stories about Steve. Precious stories about how he runs around in circles outside in the rain. and then there was a time he found a stray cat, brought the stray cat inside, and then was very surprised when he suddenly remembered that you already had a cat who did not get along very well with other cats. Yes. Pissing in a circle. Yeah, that's... Steve was something else. And he had a webcomic that served pretty much to prove that Keen Space would publish any comic. Because it was drawn on literally lined notebook paper. I believe most of it was like those yellow legal pads too. Hi, kitty. This is a really good meatloaf. I don't know why I'm so impressed with this right now. What do you see? Hmm? Ah. Hi, kitty. I assure you, dear, you're not allowed to have meatloaf. It's got onion in it. Big chunks of onion. Really, everybody wants to see your butt. That's it. Oh. He's looking at something. Now he's found something else to go looking for. I don't know. He's on a mission for something. It's the big chunks of onion, isn't it? But I know they do not recommend going to bed right after eating dinner, but right now is about the time I usually go to bed. And oh, yeah, I love that chair. It's seriously one of my favorite chairs, and this is literally my favorite chair. And of course, like the first month or so I had it. First month or so I had this chair. I could not sit in it because there was always a cat in it. There was a cat in it. Like every time I get a chance, I'd come home, there would be a cat in the chair. Usually Phoebe. Phoebe decided it was her throne for the good first month and some that I had this chair. And so now just about every chance I get, I'll film a video in it because, you know, I've wanted one of these chairs for so long. And then, of course, you know, like right after I get it, I can't sit in it because there's always a cat in it. And even now, like I come home and about half the time there's a cat in it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, hun, you should have breakfast. And but yeah, I know they say that you shouldn't go to bed right after eating, but I think I need to turn down and maybe try getting to bed fairly soon. This is like, yeah, this is about half hour past my bedtime. Hi, kitty. Yes, everybody wants to see your butt. It is fluffy, and you've got a squirrely tail right over it, and it is your butt. Yep. And yeah, I do kind of want to be, if not up and about and doing shit in the morning, I do want to get up a little bit on the earlier side. So I'm nobody's real mom. I better not be anyway.
Right, kitty? Right. Yes.
But yeah, I would like to, I know tomorrow's President's Day, but I still want to try calling the post office, because I know from experience about half the time that they have some kind of, please don't knock over the phone. That would be very bad manners of you. About half the time that there's some kind of like federal post office holiday, they there's at least somebody there working the offices and back and sorting mail and all that. And oh dear. Oh, where did it go? I don't know. Cat, you used, oh, right there. But yeah, about half the time there's usually somebody at the post office that can answer questions, even though they're not open for business. And I do want to call and see like what the deal is about this package that they gave me that was not even addressed to me or my box. It was addressed to somebody else. Granted, he's cute, and I found him on Facebook, and I did confirm it was him. Just a thing, like I sent him a message and I'm like, hey, do you have a P.O. box in Ann Arbor? When he gets to me, he's like, yeah, I do. And then I was just like, okay, just to confirm that this is indeed you, what is your box number? And he gave me the box number, which is great. And he's cute, and if I'm lucky, he's single and at least bi. That would be nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, the current plan is he and I are going to meet up on Tuesday, but I do want to try and call tomorrow just to figure out what the hell, if there is any kind of process, since I've walked out with it, even though it was not mine. But like, as long as the clerk is there, as long as the same clerk is there, like, he'll at least be able to confirm that it was kind of late in the day. They were in a hurry to close down. I was in a hurry to get out and get to my therapist, and by the time I left, there was no way to bring it back. And oh, yeah, I'll read this in a sec. Geez. Okay. But yeah, I need to call somebody at this, maybe a little bit earlier than I usually wake up. So I would like to get up a little bit early, even if I'm just going to roll over and go back to sleep after I get off the phone. And then what happens? And so yeah, I figure out what's going on with that. And a best case scenario, there's going to be no headache tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Tuesday, with exchanging the package and getting my real package. And maybe getting somebody else's package. The fun kind of package. Well, the kind of fun I haven't had since July. I'm not bitter. I'm really not bitter about that breakup. Yes, it was one of the stupid and arguably nastier breakups I've had with a guy ever, but I'm actually not bitter, because all things considered, he's a mess and a half, and honestly, I knew from early on it probably wasn't gonna, last a significant amount of time, but I was hoping it, I was still hoping, best, all things considered, best best case is, it will end amicably, which it did not, but it could have. I've ended relationships amicably before, so yeah, I'm gonna go do my whole like wind down for bed kind of thing, and I don't know if I'm gonna shoot a video tomorrow, live or edited or what, but here, do you want the toy? Go get it. He found a cat toy. But yeah, at the very least, I should be done with the book I'm currently reading, in time to, I don't know, maybe shoot a book review on, I don't know, someday. And plus Wednesday, I'm gonna do, live, either sewing or puzzle. I'm not sure if I still need to get the jigsaw puzzles out of my system right now, or if I can go back to sewing, because I've got a bucket full of socks that need darning. So, all right, everyone, bats and kisses, and I love you all, and I need to get to bed because it's about 4:30,